Halo 5 is the best Halo to date. Now, before you rush down to the comments and hit that dislike button, follow me on this journey. It's going to be rough, rocky, and hella dangerous, but if I can't convince you otherwise, then bash away, friend, and set me straight. But before then, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Now on with the video. Before we can start on this journey, we must leave our childhood behind. And look where we came from. Young Feb, 11 years old, going to a friend's house for a birthday party. That's when my cherry was popped. My hands were never so sweaty wrapped around that huge black controller, leaving me scarred to date with their inverted controls and the awe of what a first-person shooter was. This game was a driving factor for me asking for it for Christmas. I needed that game. As far as when the time came near, I went digging in the parents' closet to see if it was there. They didn't really hide presents very well. When I received it Christmas morning, it was bittersweet. My parents were going through a tough time financially, and my father, a couple nights prior, broke it to me that I wasn't going to be able to have Christmas this year due to the burdens that they were suffering. It was a tough night for both of us. I teared up, but being me, I said, it's okay, not a big deal. Which just broke him, I'm sure, because when I received the console that Christmas morning, along with Halo, I was so happy, but not until later in life did I look back and wonder what sacrifice was made to make that morning a reality. The Halo franchise has always held a dear spot in my heart. If it wasn't the Christmas when I got Halo Combat Evolved, it was the LAN parties in middle school and high school playing versus friends in my basement. People would bring over TVs and their Xboxes and would run like 4 to 8 TVs, throwing money in a pot and competing for it. When I think Halo, I'm blasted with memories for a lifetime and what it brought to my childhood. Now, as a 32-year-old male, I definitely miss those days. Games have changed in so many ways. The way we talk, interact, see each other, it's so different. Debate is gone, almost at least. People hardly talk passionately about something nowadays. It's basically, I feel this way and then ignore the other. It's caused the world to grow further apart, causing people to bandwagon. They don't want to stop the cart and question it. They'd rather just jump on, which brings us to why I actually think Halo 5 is the best Halo to date. Halo 5 has its flaws just like any other Halo, but it also has its strengths. No Halo has ever been perfect, in my opinion, but with my deep history in the franchise and my open-mindedness, I questioned why I felt this way. The overall consensus is that Halo 5 is the worst, but why is that? Was it because the story was lackluster? Because there is a sprint? I disagree with all that. With that being said, I'm going to break it down to 3 sections: gameplay, audio, story. The 3 key ingredients to any game, so let's keep going down this rabbit hole, shall we? Gameplay. This is Halo 5's strongest factor. They took what made Halo great in the past and refined it, shaped it, to be strong enough to withstand the competition and garner new fans. The sprint has been highly debated, but like anything in time, things change. Sure, us old people like it slow, but that's what it was. Slow. The older we get, the more time becomes a rarity. You'd think people would want faster games, seconds to kill. They do, they just can't admit it. They want to be a purist, a true fan. But let's be real, adding sprint doesn't take away the feel of Halo. What is the feel of Halo? The strength of being a tank, the ability to take on alien species and save mankind from annihilation. The shields charging up, the sticky grenades, the feedback of the guns, the melee hit. Having fun with friends and spending hours on trying to find glitches in the maps. This is what Halo gameplay has and always will be. But going back to the speed, Halo is still slow in comparative to many other shooters, even tactical ones like Rainbow Six Siege. Well, Feb, what about the thrusters? Actually, the thrusters had to be my favorite addition to the franchise in some time. Alright, look. I could spend this whole video talking about every aspect, but let's keep it short. In my time with fighting games competitively, games need the ability to have a high skill ceiling and the ease of accessibility. The thrusters and additional changes raise the skill ceiling for those who are deeply passionate about being competitive, while giving new players to the franchise something to kind of latch on, something shiny. We may disagree. If so, leave a comment down below and how I am wrong. I'll listen to your side as long as you listen to mine. Before we move on to the next section, I want to shout out the game mode Arena. Every time I played that mode, I felt like I was actually completing a tournament. The intensity, teamwork needed, basically Counter-Strike but with an iced tea twist. Now, Halo music has always been iconic. It goes beyond the gaming scene. It's a household sound. No game in the franchise will ever set a precedent like Halo Combat Evolved. The theme song of the franchise has gone through iterations throughout the years of choir and strings to a more guitar riffs. Then with Halo 5, it kind of brought the focus back to the choir and the roots of the first. It's personally my favorite iteration of the theme, the choir being a fan of, the opera altar style. It sings to me. It helped me that the original composer came back to help in the making of Halo 5. Here's a breakdown of 1 through 5. I skipped all the side games such as Halo Wars and ODST since we are pretty much talking about the mainline story here. But shout out to the Halo Wars though for being a great game, and I'm really hoping they make a Halo Wars 3 and hopefully they can fix the balancing, because the balancing is what killed that game. This is the weakest part of Halo 5 when comparing to the original trilogy. It doesn't hold the same gravitas as those. It's fair to say it's the weakest in the mainline games, with a lot of gripes on how it was marketed versus what we received. Along with the forcing of Commander Locke. In 4, I loved the story they told between the Chief and Cortana, the heartbreaking, the struggle they went through. Halo was always a story of the two battling through the odds to save the day. The moment when, well, hold up. Spoilers ahead, if you failed to play Halo 4, you really need to get up to date, man. But regardless, let's continue on. The moment when she was presumed dead made me tear up. I couldn't imagine Halo without her by your side. And obviously, when Halo 5 takes place, it was hard. It made it clear that Cortana was such a vital component to Chief. She humanized him. She gave the players something to connect to, but when it came to her being out of control and actually alive and the villain, I felt it was honestly the correct development of the character. It set up a great dynamic, and I was hoping to see it played out. The fight to regain a loved one. However, with Infinite, I believe we won't be seeing the continuation of that story. Halo 5 had a lot of weak parts, with poor pacing and key moments that I just felt like they were all right. There was moments that still did hit hard, and it did continue the development of Master Chief. The story is ultimately what gives Halo 5 the biggest negative rap, along with the fanboys and internet warriors jumping on the bandwagon without stepping back and actually analyzing Halo 5. A lot of what was done is missed or overlooked. Halo 5 isn't an amazing game, but it's not bad. A lot of what was done right. I argue that the changes in the franchise were the right decisions to move the franchise forward. Pushing reminiscing feelings aside, I believe Halo 5 is the best of the mainline games, and even with its weak story. The stages, gameplay, music were all done so well that it carries the story to push it to the best that we received. You may disagree, and if so, please let me know down below. But as far as Infinite, I'm excited to see the future of the franchise. Halo 1 Level 2 was groundbreaking, and the feeling of it being open world. even though it wasn't due to the limitations of the time, but it was the best they could do. So I'm looking forward to seeing that vision realized. The graphics did need some work and a little bit of an overhaul. If they can grow in the combat from Halo 5, I feel like we are moments away from Halo being reborn as a powerhouse it once was. Thanks for spending the time with me. I'm looking forward to the debates we'll have down below. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and if you haven't already checked out my second channel, link down below, where I do all my outdoor activities such as dirt biking and hunting. So otherwise, you can always check out my Twitch if you want to game with the community. And until next time, guys, keep up the fight.